Hello, welcome Martha and Carlotta. This is Owen Ron with Take Five for Real Estate podcast, and we're trying something new this episode. We've got more than one guest on, and we're also recording this on Zoom. So looking forward to new things. Our guests today are Martha Beaudry with Boulevard Properties and Carlotta Morris with Beth Barrister. They're both niche kind of real estate firms, I'll say, and I'll let them go a little bit further into their backgrounds. As always, you can like this podcast and share it, and feel free to respond in any way if we can answer questions for you. Let's start with Martha. Martha, tell us about your career in real estate and where you are currently.
Sure. So I've been practicing real estate for about 14 years now. Actually, no, 16 years.
Time flies.
I was actually in the IT business before. I was selling IT training and IT solutions to small and medium-sized businesses. And then after 9/11 and the fall of Enron and everything, no one was really investing in IT support. So I just felt like it was time for me to find a new career. And I really liked real estate because it's flexible. I mean, if you're flexible, there's always a place where you can make money, and it requires the same kind of consultative sales skills that you need in that other type of sale.
Wow.
And so I had to start off as an apartment locator because I'm, single and I needed to make money really fast. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I helped open an inner loop leasing agency, and then I ended up actually starting my own agency and segued into sales. And so I do both. I do a lot of sales. I do a lot of leasing. I have a lot of investors. And so that's kind of how, I got my start.
And where's your today? Where you have like a territory that you call home?
So my expertise is inner loop. I mean, I know the inner loop very, very well, but, I have clients, my clients, they ask me to go where they want me to go. And so I've had people ask me to help them in Pearland. I just did a transaction in Sienna Plantation. I had one client that wanted a really unique farmhouse out in the country, and I helped them find something out in Crockett. So if I go where my clients ask me to go, as long as, I feel I can serve their needs properly.
Right.
But my strength is inner loop in the surrounding area.
Yeah. Well, good. Carlotta?
Well, I started my career in Austin, Texas, in raw ranch land. And that was so fun. I've been doing this about 35 years. Moved with my husband to the Woodlands and started into new construction, which was so fun, learning about, blueprints and watching the sticks go into the air, watching it all come to fruition was a lot of fun. I did that for 16 years. And then I went back to real estate, and I'm with Beth Barrister and Company. Ever since I've gone back to real estate, I've been with Beth, and I love it. My area of expertise is the Woodlands, but I do sell in Conroe and Magnolia and Kingwood and Spring and, wherever it takes me. I don't go downtown though. So now I have a new person to send inner loop people to, Martha, and I will do that. Real estate is hot. Real estate is hot.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So in 2020 with COVID, how has that impacted Carlotta, why don't you tell us what the normal buyer or what their profile is today, and is it any different from previous years because of COVID?
I think it's different in the Woodlands than it is a lot of other places. We tend to have people moving in and out all of the time. And this year is no different from the past. One thing that's different right now it sounds so exciting, but I'm sure Martha will relate. It's really not so fun for the realtor. We don't have enough homes for sale. We have way more buyers than we have homes for sale. So it's a multiple offer. It's sold before it hits the market. You really have to dot your I's and cross your T's to make sure you're not stepping on someone's toes or not being fair and in every way. It's a tough time for the realtor. It's a happy time for the sellers, and the buyers are just running around hoping that they got there quick enough.
Right. So when does, for those that don't know, Woodlands is I guess the most successful suburb of Houston, and its own
Absolutely, it is.
probably
Absolutely.
considers Houston a suburb of the Woodlands at times. But when is the Woodlands out of room?
Well, we're out of room in the sense if you're looking for houses, single family houses. We don't have that anymore. That's the resale market. But we still have our downtown area, Market Street, luxury condos.
Yeah.
We still have Carlton Woods over in Creekside that's still putting up, your custom 1 million and up. And the resale market we're 35 years old now. And so we've got a lot of renovations happening, and that's exciting. I just sold a home that was completely redone outside, inside, multiple offers, sold literally before we could get the post in the ground.
Wow.
And
good for you.
It's an exciting time. It's really an exciting time here.
Yeah. Martha, what do you think about the world inside the loop with this year?
Yeah, so it's the same thing. Inventory is low, and I think that for those people who know they have employment and they don't really have to worry too much about losing their job and all of this, but have discovered they have to be working from home, those guys are wanting to find a better house that is more conducive for that. They need more space because they're on top of each other. They want something maybe with a bigger yard. They want something that's more comfortable for them to be at home as long and as much as they are. And so that's what's making it really difficult. I mean, if you don't have the ideal house, you don't have the house that they're looking for, your house will stay on the market for a while.
Yeah.
So there are things like, even as we market these homes that are coming on the market, we try to focus on those features that someone who has to be working from home all the time or staying at home all the time would find this particular house conducive for that need. And so it is important that the house have these types of amenities that make it comfortable for people to be at home all the time. Especially if you've got a couple with kids. I mean, small space can get old very fast.
Yes, yeah. I hear you. Yeah, I'm lucky my kids are out. So, but there's people in the neighborhood that, oh man, I feel sorry for them. With they're crawling all over each other and they're trying to work from home. Kids are trying to go to school. It's a tough time. So go ahead.
Question for you: Are you finding that a lot of people are refinancing and pulling cash out as well at this time?
Not so much. We haven't done a whole lot of cash outs. The refinances I've done this year and most of the companies done are mostly just rate and term refinance the balance. And even some are, taking large chunks of money and paying down the balances because they're nervous about having a big note. So they're pulling money out of other, cash accounts or investments and having less debt. So there's almost a nervousness where people are trying to reduce their cash flows,
Right.
whether that's with a lower rate or a lower loan amount.
Right.
There's a good chunk of that going on. And I think it seems like both of you mentioned the multiple offer thing, and there is some panic buying. It seems like some people that were like, oh, I'm going to do this next year. Maybe we'll move in 2 years. And then all of a sudden this year hits, they've got more time on their hands. They see things heating up around them. Rates are low. Pressure's on to go get something. So there's been a little panic buying, I think, that I know of at least two deals in the past couple of months where the people, said we were going to buy next year, but with all going on, we're buying this year. So it kind of makes me a little bit wondering, well, who's going to be the buyers next year?
Right.
What will be the market next year, after the election, hopefully after COVID. Maybe all the people have found their spots, or will there be a new market? Well, that's a good question. So Carlotta, what do you think of next year? Will there be the same kind of frenzy, or will there be more homes on the market, both from the seller side and from the buyer side? What do you think?
The one thing that I would say, when we have an election in November, the following year has historically been flat as far as real estate. And the the election year, which we're in, plus the COVID, it's unusual. One would think that people would be staying in and being careful and being thoughtful of their finances. I'm just not seeing that here in the Woodlands. And I find that, I'm not, normally I will have an opinion. I am not sure why there is so much move around right now here. I'm not sure. There's a lot of move around that are people here buying up or buying down. And it might be what Martha touched on by now that they're in their house all the time with each other, they've figured out that this isn't the correct layout or whatever. But I expect, well, I've always felt this way in real estate. Even if you have to get up early and stay up late, you make hay while the sun shines.
Right.
And we are definitely here in the Woodlands in that position. And I don't expect it to stay this crazy hot through next year. I believe history will repeat itself and it will flatten out a bit. Now that doesn't mean it's going to be bad. It just may mean the multiple offers and people making, you mentioned panicky deals, whatever these things are that are causing stuff to happen so quickly and so fast and so many. I think that's going to settle down.
Yeah.
Right.
Martha, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's about right. And I'll tell you what the irony of the situation is, you know, when this year started, oh my God, I had so much in my pipeline, I couldn't believe it. And I was, you know, putting my listings on and we were getting multiple offers. And then the next thing I know, the rodeo is being shut down. And the next thing I know, contracts are falling through. And oh my God, I was like, oh, this is going to be a terrible year. And then I was like, well, you know, it's just, this year is just not going to be that big year. And April comes and April goes, and in May and June we start to open up, and all of a sudden the wheels start rolling again, and I have the best year in real estate I have ever had.
Well, good.
So it's almost like I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. I just don't. I mean, I think that it's like she said, that's probably going to balance out a little bit. I think that it's going to make a lot of people calmer. I think the markets will get calmer. I think everything will become calmer if we can have a plan, you know, to deal with, you know, the challenges that we have. I think we'll see it calm. So, but I have no idea how. I just don't know. But I'm with you, and I'm with those people that you have been talking to, where I am working on looking at my cash flow and making sure I am ready for a difficult year. But I do have stuff in my pipeline right now. The issue is I've got buyers and we're struggling with inventory.
Yeah.
Right. Me too.
I was hoping that, not hoping, but perhaps all the extra hours that couples are spending together in cramped quarters are going to create some divorce-related home purchases next year. So,
well, more like marriage-saving home purchases.
That's right, marriage-saving purchases, or
my goodness.
cozy up to some divorce lawyers, I guess, for new sources of business. But
oh my Lord.
so I had kind of one kind of off COVID topic is, what is a strangest or story-worthy transaction you've ever had in your career? And Martha, do you have one already thought of?
One of my favorites happened a couple of years ago. I had a house and my client really wanted to get $300,000 for this house. I mean, she was really holding on to that number. And we, at the time, I think we had it listed at $315,000, and we had an offer at $295,000, and they weren't going to come up to $300,000, and she wasn't going to come down to $295,000. So I got creative, and I created this idea, and I said, let's do this. Let's drop the price in MLS by $5,000, you know, drop it to $310,000. Let's announce it on Facebook. And we had the buyer's email. So we were able to make sure that they got the notification on Facebook that there was a price reduction. And I scheduled an open house that weekend, and we announced it everywhere. And so we had the open house. It was raining during the open house, and 12 couples came. And
Wow.
the open house was from 2 to 4. And at 4:05, we got a call from the buyers saying that they'd come up to the seller's price.
Ah,
So we think that they were sitting outside watching the traffic in the house. That was great. That was really good. It was a lot of fun. It was because I have to tell you, one thing I love to do in real estate is I love to strategize.
oh,
And I come up with strategies. I get a feel for what's going on and what needs to happen. And I'll come up with a unique plan for that situation. And I love doing that, especially when it falls together.
yeah, yeah.
Amen.
Great story.
Amen, sister.
So, Carlotta, how about you? Do you have a story-worthy transaction?
You know, for a minute, for some reason, when you said that, I was thinking of a challenging transaction or perhaps one that was fraught with issues. But a better one would be working with like my best friend. And Martha, that's tough. When it's your friend, you really want everything to go right. You really, more than ever in your life, you want
Right.
that to go right. Okay, so he's gonna do a flip. Okay. And we found the home and we purchased it. And let's just say we purchased it to be fair and not disclose everything. We purchased it for a good bit less than 300,000. And he had a budget and he was going to do all these things and he went way over budget. And when I say way over budget, I mean double over budget. So let's just say almost over 150,000 in money spent. And that wasn't what we were going to do. That wasn't what we talked about. And I knew that in order for him to be able to feed his family, we were going to have to get a certain amount of money. And that was going to be so far over the neighborhood comps, which I knew we were going to be pushing our limit. But just to cut to the chase, I put a number on it that was twice what we bought it for. And I found comps nowhere near it. But I found comps in the world. And I prepared my packet and I prayed. And do you know that house not only sold for over list, but I met appraisal.
Oh,
Awesome.
That's the
Very
best deal.
good.
That's the best deal I've ever done.
Yep.
good for you.
Very good.
Excellent. Well, I think we've kind of reached the end. What's the best way, Martha, someone can reach you if you want them to reach out, just on social media or cell phone or emails? What works for you?
And my cell, I love it when people text me. That's my favorite, because I especially now in this political environment, I'm getting so
Oh.
many political emails, and I've got sorting and trying to go through all of those emails. So yes, if you want to email me at martha@marthabodry.com, that's fine. But texting me or reaching out to me on social media will get a much faster response.
Okay, great. Same question for you, Carlotta. What's your contact?
Well, I'm going to say go to my website, carlottamorris.com. That's pretty easy. Other than that, Owen can find me if you need me. I have a cell number. I'm on every kind of social media there is. If you know Carlotta Morris, you can find me.
That's good. You both have done great jobs marketing yourselves and your names. Well, I appreciate you coming on the podcast and trying this experiment. And
Can I say one more thing?
okay,
This guy, this Owen Ron, is an incredible lender. He answers the phone. I don't care if it's 10 o'clock on Saturday night. He's trustworthy. He's reliable. I've been with him for over 20 years. The lone man is sitting here.
that's funny. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for doing this.
Sure. All right. Y'all have a good rest of your day. Let me see if I
Thank
can
you.